Hello everybody, this is Dean Cuevas, Dr. C here, coming to you straight out of Springfield, Missouri, the voice for Missouri. Anyway, we're talking about the COVID virus here, and we're going to take a quick look in terms of the expectations for this coming week. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me some likes on my videos here if you find them of use. I have independent estimation here as to what's going on in terms of at least short-term forecasting. But let's take a look at some of the longer-term forecasts here. First of all, what do we have? This is last week's forecast I'm showing you right here. So this is a week ago. Let's see. Things were supposed to max out here in Missouri on April 22nd. Notice the wide band of uncertainty here, this all pinkish gray, this highlighted shaded area here. What is it saying? They don't know what's going on. That was last week, April 22nd. What was the story with regard to total deaths? Cumulative deaths, let's see. Cumulative total deaths, there we have it. Ooh, go back a second. Last week, what did they say? Last week they expected, they're saying when it's all said and done, 352 deaths, okay? Which won't end until June-ish, or around June-ish. Again, that was last week. So let's take a look what's going on for this week. For this week, things are a lot different. Let's get rid of that for now. For this week, again, now we're talking about, look here. This is as of today. Things are not supposed to max out until April 29th. But look at these wide ranges of bands of number of deaths per day here. This is deaths per day. Notice how crazy this data is right here. It's very hard to make predictions. It could be anywhere from 140 down to virtually nobody dying in a day. But again, this is that flattening of the curve that everybody wants to see right here, the flattening of the curvature here. Now it's not supposed to curve out reach a max until basically last day of April. So sit tight and wait it out. Who knows what they'll come up with next week. What do we have here? We were supposed to have only 300-something deaths as of last week in Missouri. Now they project up to 1,700, over 4 times more. But I want to draw your attention to the uncertainty bands here, the shaded area. It could be anywhere from 5,000 total deaths down to 500. Who knows? Look at the wide variation here. These guys, they don't know. This is the best they can do, and I'll tell you why, because the data is scant, and the data is all over the place. I mean, you're trying to make projections out of this. It's not easy. But Dr. Cuevas here, Dr. C, your voice from Missouri. I can at least make some fairly good, short-term predictions, or at least tell you whether things are going to change. So let's shift now and see what my predictions did. Let's take a look at total cases here. All right, so we have total cases. Here's total cases that I predicted for last week, for the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. That's the red line were my predictions in terms of total cases, hitting upwards of about 5,000 by the 12th. The balls here, or the circles, sorry, don't mean to be rude. As we take a look at these circles here, what actually happened? All right, not so bad. Things seem to be flattening out, though. Notice throughout this entire time span from the end of March till at least last week, things were seeming to continue to rise on a curve. Now things seem to be flattening out, okay, in terms of the data. Seems to be flattening out in terms of the total number of cases. That would correspond, let me just show you, that would correspond to a flattening out like right around here. But again, flattening in this kind, let's just go back to where we were. Let's see. So, again, total cases actually appear to be flattening out, even though I was predicting a little bit more of an upward curve. How did I do in terms of predictions for deaths? Well, let's take a quick look here. Kind of off, but Notice we had a lot of data here. I was going back still pretty far, back to the 22nd of March in the model. And my model basically was saying, yep, things should rise really rapidly and continue to rise in terms of total deaths. In terms of real data, we have the circles here. That's what really happened. So, they're not so good. Not so good. Things were going up a little bit, but we still leveled off. Again, that's in terms of cumulative totals. I have to say this data is pretty bouncing around here, so it is hard to do this. So let's take a look at what I expect now. So what do I expect now? Well, let's go back to the cases, the total cases. If we just plot the total cases over the past 15 days, not going all the way back to the end of March, but just the past 15 days, I can tell you this is the real data. This is the actual data as of the 15th, which was yesterday. And here's the best, the red is the best straight line through that data. I can tell you this, I don't see any curving off. I also don't see any curving up. So I don't see curving down or curving up. As far as this data goes, that looks pretty darn linear. So I'm going to have to switch my model to going from an exponential function going up to basically a linear model. So let's take a look at that. Here's a linear model. Again, we say linear here, trend with no seasonal component. Well, this is called exponential smoothing. What do we predict? Well, this is the same data, which is the real data is in blue. The last data point I have here is the 15th, which was yesterday. And forget the greens. That has to do with the testing, how the model is behaving. And so the red here are the predictions. In terms of, again, that's pretty much a straight line. So what do we predict? I personally predict that for the next week, we're going to see straight line increases in the number of total cases, cracking maybe 6,000 by the 20th, something around there. So again, I'm predicting a straight line here and not an exponential curve anymore. So what does that mean? That's actually getting good, because instead of curving up and getting worse and worse and worse on in an exponential fashion, things seem to be flattening, not flattening out, but becoming more straight. So again, my best prediction here is a red line right here, so that by the 20th we may have about 6,000 cases. So things are still going up, people. Number of total cases is going up. Remember that also lags behind what the actual true number of cases are, because it takes a while for those tests to come back, and besides, who knows how many people are out there that test positive, that that are positive, that in fact don't even know it. But these are total number of confirmed cases. All right, expect a straight line continuing upwards, so we're not out of the woods yet. Let's take a quick look now at the deaths. In terms of the deaths, oh, by the way, if I go back and take a look at that, we're talking about 2% relative error here. So my model is actually doing pretty good. The percent error has gone down dramatically, especially since I've taken off some of the data points which were further back in time, back there somewhere. Okay, so 2% error here, which is a lot better. Again, expect 6,000 deaths by the 20th or so. Now we go to, I'm sorry, that's cases, number of cases. Okay, if I plot, again, the blue is the actual data points in terms of total number of cases, cumulative number of cases. We see here a little over 150 deaths in Missouri as of the 15th, which was yesterday. I have to tell you, when I do model this with regard to linear, definitely doesn't model as well. So I'm expecting definitely to continue an exponential trend upward with regard to deaths. And again, the deaths always lag behind the number of cases, right? So remember, a while back we were still in the exponential phase with regard to number of cases. Well, number of deaths I expect to still continue to exponentially rise. Again, maybe not as dramatically as we've seen it, but the point here is we expect to see over 250 deaths by the 20th. At least that's my prediction. So my predictions are, again, within 8% mean absolute percent error. That means you could be off, 8% in either direction, given any data point here. Again, the further out you go, the higher that error is going to be. The 8% really kind of applies to the 1 day ahead forecast, which would be right here for the 16th, which is, again, predicted to be about 181 total deaths. So I predict, again, total deaths are still on the exponential rise, and but total cases seem to be flattening out. So that's a good sign, people. What does this all mean? This all means that we're not out of the woods. Nobody really knows when it's going to be all said and done. All I can say is that the deaths are still happening, exponentially rising. The cases seem to be flattening out. I definitely don't see a dampening in the cases. Remember, I saw here, no question, that we're still on a linear trend with the cases. By the way, for those of you who are interested in where I get my numbers from, my numbers come from, in terms of my data, I'm getting my numbers from, from here, from GitHub. It's from the New York Times. The New York Times, again, I'm not trusting any governmental data. I'm going straight to the New York Times, and they have COVID-19 data on the GitHub website, which is right here. GitHub.com/New York Times, and then you should be able to link yourself right to the COVID data. So they have data for the entire country, as well as the states, and as well as counties. I'm not doing the counties because the data is just so small. It's so little. It's hard to really say anything. So, what's the point? The point is, we're still not out of the woods. Please still protect yourself. The cases are still going up, and seems linearly now, which is better than exponentially. So that's a good sign, but they're still going up. People, we're not going to be out of this for a really long time. Let me say that. A really long time. Please be safe. Please wear masks when you go out. Please distance. Wear different clothes when you go out than when you come in. Don't contaminate other people. Luckily, at least here in Springfield, we're not all that densely populated, so it's not so bad in terms of where it is in terms of density, like New York City or something like that. But that doesn't mean that you're safe. Remember, anybody can catch this, anybody can get sick from it, and anybody can die from it. So, Dr. Dean Quabe is here, giving you the scoop, giving you the story from Missouri. Don't listen to the government. Don't listen to the politicians. Listen to me. Okay, so again, if you like anything you hear here, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and have yourself a great day. Please like the video, put some likes down there, and we'll see you all next time in about 5 to 7 days, and we'll see how the situation is then. Okay, have yourselves a great day. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.